Hello guys, Jeff the maintenance guy. Totally unrelated video of what I do at work. We're here at my house. I'm already getting ready for Christmas and I'm like, Jeff, what the heck? It's July. I know, but look at all this crap I got. So I want to try to get this working. I'll go over what some of this stuff is. First of all, if you control lights, you're going to need a controller. This is the Lynx Express controller. And this controller basically controls incandescent lights. So these are basically, this is a LOR controller. I don't know if you know the light-o-rama controller. This is about the same exact thing. It has a dongle right here that plugs into your computer by USB. And then this outputs through a Cat 5 cable and can be plugged into there. That's all cool and dandy. What if you don't want to run a wire all the way out from your computer all the way to this controller? No problem. Lynx got you covered there, LOR. I think LOR has the same thing, but they have these little wireless modules that can plug into these two little black pins right there. You take this jumper, remove it, and it'll go wireless for you. And you got 16 channels, just like light-o-rama does, and wirelessly. So that's all good and dandy. So now what you got to do is hook this to your computer. Okay. Then you take this wireless DMX module, which only has one output, and you're like, well, what the heck? Well, what you do is you take a wire, just a straight through Cat 5 cable, internet wire, take it from here, jump it over to here. Put the power on this. Put your USB. This will power off of USB. And this is the Lynx Pixel Neck dongle. And then this will transmit. There's jumpers inside that says transmit or receive. So you want this on transmit. And it'll transmit to this little guy here. And it'll control this controller for you. Still going to need about 16 extension cords coming out of the bottom of this controller. I have these hooked up just to demonstrate how this would work. So I'm not going to turn it on right now. I got to hook up a whole bunch of crap. But anyway, so Lynx modules. We'll get to these babies here in a second. But the dongle does, I believe, come in a kit. So it's a bare board, and sometimes you can find them assembled, sometimes not. But it's a bare circuit board. And you can solder them if you know about soldering and electrical stuff good enough to do it yourself. It's a good do-it-yourself project. So, yep, got 3 more dongles, which I really don't have a use for. I only need 1 dongle. Let's add 3 computers. So, that's how that works. Now, these are another kind of a smaller controller. It's got 4, I don't have one assembled, so you're just gonna have to forgive me, but it has 4 outputs, or 4 channels, so 4 different things can be directed with this. So where it says DMX out here, you could just hook it and come into the input to this one, the DMX out from this one, go to the next one, and I got 8 of these, so I'll be doing a lot of soldering if I ever get. So this here alone, these blank circuit boards here equal 2 of these controllers in channels. So 32 channels right here. So that's how you do like incandescent lighting and stuff like that. So if you build those arches that are made out of the PVC pipe and you wrap these around it, you're probably looking at about 3 or 4 channels per arch. So it can get quite daunting or whatever. Now let's get into something that I like to call in between the smart and dumb. Is DMX stuff. This is a DMX. It's not a matrix. It's a dumb panel, so it can be red, green, or blue all at once, but it is controlled by DMX and it has little microchips on it. When I hook this up directly, it just starts running a test pattern. So I've messed around with some of this stuff today, and of course you're going to need a picket, 2 or 3, something like that. But DMX modules, basically the same thing we just went over. You know, you got DMX out here. You could probably hook this in there and just control one set of lights if you wanted to, but it's kind of wasting your DMX channel. So these are dumb lights, so we're getting into the dumb lights here. As you can see, there's no microchips on them. There's just current limiting resistors, and that's what they look like. 50/50 LEDs, and they have a plug. And the way this works is you have a white, which is your positive, and all 3 of the other ones are negative. So if you touch white to green, you're going to get green. White to red, you're going to get red. White to blue, you're going to get blue. If you do white to blue and you twist together blue and red, you're going to get purple. If you get blue and green, you're going to get yellow. And if you take all 3 of them and twist them together and touch them to the ground, you're going to get white. So that's how dumb pixels work. Some of the stuff, like I stated before, has programming ports on it, like this right here. So the Picket 2 is really nice for that. But I noticed some of these headers, I'd put my Picket 2 on there, it would freeze up. I don't know what that was about. So I just took the chip out and put it on a breadboard, programmed it directly. No big deal there. But again, you're going to have to know how to do this stuff to be able to dive into it like that. You might have a nerd friend or something that does that stuff for you. Electronic parts, a must. You must have some sort of electronic parts. So on the subject again, with dumb things, also floods can be dumb. These are RGB DMX floods, and they same principle as these. If you touch blue to blue, you use this, and blah, blah, blah. So they're dumb. So basically, you hook this into this floodlight, and this hooks into your DMX output from your DMX controller, which I don't have a DMX controller, but you could probably hook it coming out of this PixelNet. I'm not sure. Haven't tried that. Alright, let's get on to smart pixels. Alright, the famous one that's worked out and the easiest for me. I bought this as a kit, soldered it myself. I used it with my tree last year. This is the Sans Device E682. It's a smart pixel controller. As you can see, I didn't buy long enough pigtails. I wish they were a little longer. Makes things easier. But believe it or not, this and this is the same thing. This is called the 680 right here. But as you can see, it still has 16 channels. This one, a little bit more professional, kind of with fuses and stuff. This one only has one soldered in fuse, which is that little green doodad right there. So I'm not sure the capability of amps on each one of these channels. A big beefy traces, so hopefully, yes, this has been modified so it can take a good bit of amperage through that. Now with the smart pixel controllers, you're not so much dealing with DMX anymore. You're dealing with E1.31 protocol, which basically was coming out of your LAN. You plug into here, and then there's an IP address, and when you type that IP address in your browser, you can configure this controller to do whatever you want. Now, can smart controllers output DMX? Absolutely. There's an option within that web page I said that you can take every 4 ports of this and configure them to DMX. So, and it'll output DMX data. So you can then go from this controller over to a DMX controller. And speaking of DMX, again, you get the Renard, which is a 485 protocol, and also it can be a DMX depending on what firmware you load up on the chip. Again, that's where that programmer comes in nice and handy. Okay, what else? Okay, so Renard, I like Renard because it's a small controller. But you can't like interface with it with a web interface. It's kind of, I got some serial port things over there that converts it over to LAN so I can DMX out through 485 and whatever. But this coming out of here, if you're just using it regularly, you can take it and you can put it to what these little guys right here. These are Dirt Cheaps, and I forget the website I got these from, but Dirt Cheaps. There we go. Maybe there's a website on there. Nope, but 1 amp per channel, so 2 strings of incandescent lights. This baby will control just fine, I think. Anyway, your Ethernet goes in here for each 4 channels, and then all your neutrals are tied together, and all your hots go on these bars here. Okay, and your hot goes there, and then your other 4 hots to your extension cords come out the other way. And what I would recommend is putting these in a pipe drill. You have 4 coming out, you plug your lights into those. So now these can do smart pixel controllers, because if you run a DMX out of here, you can get like a smart pixel controller like this one. Now I don't have too much information on these. I think there's AustraliaChristmasLighting.com, so I don't have very much information on these. But it can run 12 or 5 volt pixels, apparently. It looks like there's a DMX there that you input, and then it'll output to a smart string controller, maybe a W.